Right guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm just going to be showing you how to install a cassette 11 speed to your road bike. Just run through the steps and what to look out for, etc. And there's, like I said, there's a couple of ways of doing it, so if you're not sure, watch the video, it may be helpful to you. So we'll go ahead, we'll get stuck into it. Right, so when it comes to removing the actual cassette itself, then it's the same if you've got a disc wheel, if you've got a non-disc wheel like this. As you can see, this happens to be a quick release through the middle, so remove the quick release skewer out of the centre of it. Now the wheel's out of the bike. Obviously if you've got a through axle, then you've removed that anyway. Then you want to undo the lock ring, Shimano lock ring tool, like so. Then that just locates into there, as you can see. Then you need a socket to fit over it. This one takes a 24mm socket that goes over there. Now it's always better to use a socket. You could use a spanner, adjustable spanner on there, but proper leverage, you're better off with a socket, just in case you need a bigger bar on it, like so, a couple of foot bar, in case that's tight and it hasn't had any grease put on it, on the lock ring, on the threads from new. You don't know. You can use a ratchet like so, 1/2 inch drive this is. You can use a ratchet if you know you've had it off before and you grease the threads and you take it off regularly, then you'll come undone with this. But if you haven't, then you need something a bit more substantial sometimes, not all the time but sometimes. Then you also want something to hold the cassette, stop the Freehub obviously moving like that when you're trying to undo it, because that's undoing that way, anti-clockwise. So to hold it, you just get yourself either a tool like so, like that just grips onto the cassette, or the chain whip with a length of chain on it, and the handle which you just wrap round, same sort of thing. You're better off with these, to be honest, than a chain whip, because chain whip can be awkward to use sometimes if you're not used to them. So these are more simple. You just open them like so, clamp it round, and obviously let go of it and it stays there. You haven't got to worry about a chain whip. The chain tends to fall off if you haven't got it perfect and it gets a bit fiddly, so these are ideal tool. And also if you've got a new cassette to put back on, if you're changing a worn one out, then you can just lift the cassette off and you haven't got to worry about it falling into pieces, which it will, because they're component parts, a lot of these, so it will, you lose it if it falls apart. If you're worried about that, if you're taking it off to clean it or do some other maintenance, then when you lift it up, keep a hold of it, and when you've taken it off, keep hold of it, and you can either put it down gently without disturbing it, or put a cable tie through it and tie it up if you're frightened that it's going to, you know, fall into pieces and you're not sure how it goes back together. So you put a cable tie through it and zip it up, and then you know which order all the bits come off in, just in case. But I can show you that later on. So we just go ahead, I'll show you how to crack that undone. Right, so to get the cassette off Freehub, what you want to do is, obviously you can get your tool like so, locate it in there, then get your chain whip or pliers like so, just hold the cassette. You put those round, you put it about sort of 4 teeth up, four cogs sprockets up from the bottom, roughly, somewhere there, to hold it. And obviously we're going to be undoing it, so that's anti-clockwise to undo. Then you get your ratchet if you know it's been off before and you're confident it's going to come undone. If not, get a bigger bar on it, put your ratchet on like so, then literally hold this, chain whip, whatever you've got, pliers, and then undo with this hand. So you're just holding this one and then push down like so, and it'll sort of feel a bit notchy as it comes undone, clicks like so, and then literally it's undone. Then you can take off chain whip tool to hold the cassette. You don't need that now. As soon as that's cracked undone, you don't need to hold it anymore, because you just hold it with your finger. So then you can just carry on undoing the lock ring. Right, so the wheel's flat on the floor now, so nothing's going to fall off. So you can just literally undo the lock ring like so, then just lift the lock ring off, and there you have it. Now some of them, the cassettes have a plastic lock ring tool, depends what it is, Ultegra, Dura-Ace, things like that. They've got these are plastic, the lock ring tool, and if it's like a 105, you've got a metal lock ring as well on it, so that's the difference. You've got plastic or metal, just bear that in mind. Plastic's obviously more brittle when it comes to tightening it back up. If you over tighten these, you could damage it, or you could damage the threads, because these are only plastic and it's going into a metal thread there. They get damaged easier. You can strip the threads on them easier than you can on the metal ones, but still the same thing applies. If you cross thread this, you've knackered your Freehub more than likely inside there, your Freehub body. So you've got to make sure when you put these back on that you've got some grease on them, and make sure they're starting clean and they're definitely not cross threading. So we've got the cassette like that now, and obviously, like I said, if you go and lift it up, then if you want to keep hold of it and then lift it up at the same time, you could take the first the 11 cog off like so and put it to one side, if that helps, because there's only one to go back on. So you can put that to one side, and then you can just you could hold on to it and lift it up if you want to, and keep it all in one piece. So you can just get hold of it and pull it up like so, and off it comes. And if you drop it all like that, that's what I was on about. If you don't keep hold of it, you lose it all, and it's all in component pieces. And I'll put all that lot to one side, because then I can show you putting it back together if that happened to you, and you're thinking, how do I put all of that back together again so I know it works properly? So I'll show you that. But when you got it off, just make sure you clean up your Freehub body, just wipe all the old grease off and all the old grime and everything. Make sure that's properly clean, and check. Sometimes if they're aluminium, the Freehub bodies, then you got some teeth marks in them, as you can see there, and you can hear it. They're just slightly proud. It's not affecting anything, it's just because obviously it's biting in and the aluminium's softer, so you just get the teeth marks in them. So what you can do is you can go ahead and file them off. If they're too pronounced, you can just file them down so the cassette slides back on nice and easy. Sometimes it stops the cassette going back on very well if you've got a lot of pronounced, so you can hear that. So you can file them off a little bit if you've got a nice small file to do it with. If not, it's not causing a problem. It's just the way that some of the cassette bodies are. The aluminiums, they're soft. So once you've cleaned all that up properly, then obviously you can go ahead and reinstall it. But before we get into that, I'll just run through like cleaning this up and piecing it back together. Right, so when it comes to cleaning up all your cassette parts, if you want to clean them all individually, then just get yourself some degreaser. And say if it's really dirty, you haven't cleaned it for a long time, the best thing to do is just pop them in there and just leave them soaking. Pop all the parts in, including the little plastic spaces as well. You can throw them in. So there's no need to worry about it when it's all in million pieces like this. Just throw it all in, and then like so, just pop the lot in there and leave it soaking. Just go and get yourself a cup of tea or whatever, leave it soaking for a while for the degreaser to work. Leave that in there for 10-15 minutes and then come back to it. Right, so once you've had your parts soaking the degreaser, all you got to do is brush them off in the degreaser. Maybe change the degreaser, put some clean in there and do it again. Brush them all off, leave them to dry or dry them off, whichever. If you haven't got time, wait for them to air dry. Then you're left with something like that. Now depending on, this happens to be 11-speed cassette I'm talking about here, so you've got a few different parts. Now this might be on a different cassette, it may vary, but I'm talking about 11-speed here. So you've got, this happens to be on Ultegra, so on say a 105 it may differ. This might be 2 and this might be 3 cogs. It just differs slightly, but it's the same principle. Now you're left with the parts like so. So to know how they go, you can see the writing on them where it says what size, it's obviously 11-speed, and what size cog it is. Now that's on them, you can see it, so that's facing outwards. So if you start with that, then obviously it's going to be this one, and then you just work your way down, then that one, like so. Now with regards to how they go on the Freehub body itself, what you're looking for is, if you get whichever sprocket, out of all of them there's a small one. So as you can see, that one at the top there is smaller than the rest. So that one, all it does is correspond with one on your Freehub body. So if you get your Freehub body and you turn it round till you find the smallest one, which is that one there. As you can see, it's smaller than the one next to it. It's a lot smaller, thinner. So that one is what corresponds with that one on there, so they just line up. So if you just get that, you put a smear of grease, light smear of grease around your Freehub body just to stop the cassette getting stuck on there in bad conditions. Then you just line it up like so, and then you can just drop it in place like that. Now if it was a 10-speed or any other bar an 11, make sure there isn't a ring behind there like that, a spacer ring. Sometimes you'll take it off and you didn't see that sometimes, but this is 11, so you don't need the spacer ring in there. But on some cassettes, if it's a 10-speed cassette, you'd see that spacer in there, ring behind there, obviously to space it out so it takes enough room up on the Freehub body. Obviously being 10-speed, same 9-speed, 8-speed, there'd be a spacer there. But on 11 there's no spacer. So being as this is road, so you can just, like I said, line it up and drop it on. And now you're wondering, well, you put that on and you've got these spacers here into the mix. You see there's 3 of them there, plastic spacers, so show you what to do with those next. So you got the spacers there, so what we do is ignore them for a minute, because all you've done is you put your first set on, they're all together. Then because the bump's machined there like that, it basically effectively is a spacer, because there's a machined onto there already, so you don't have to worry about those. So what you do is you get your next set that are joined together like that, and effectively, as you can see, it's raised up, so it's like a spacer anyway, so you don't have to worry about one on that. So you just find your narrowest one again, line it up and drop that on. So that's on in position. Then you get your next biggest one. Again, make sure you've got the numbers there facing outwards, so when it drops on they're facing towards you. And then again, just line it up again like so, put that on. Now what you can do is you get yourself a spacer like so, and then you go ahead and put your spacer on like so. So just turn it around till it drops on like so. Then you go ahead, get your next one, your sprocket, put that on, then get another spacer like so, drop that on. Then your next sprocket, line that up, then you get another spacer, pop that on, and now you're left with 3. So just pop this one on, third from last, there, and then as you can see with this one, so we've only got these 2 left. That one's already got the bump on the back of it, like the spacer, so there's no spacer between there and this one, the second one to last. So you go ahead, then look for your slot again on that, put that in, and then the last one, it's got the bump on the back, acting as a spacer. So you go ahead, look on the reverse of it and find the smallest again, and then turn it over and drop it in place like so, and that's it on there, all built up onto the Freehub body. And then all you do is you get your lock ring, put some grease on the threads of it, start it by hand to make sure that you haven't cross threaded it, and then do that up, and then get your lock ring tool and tighten it up as much as you can by hand, and then fully tighten it. Obviously it's got 40 Newton meters on it, but not many people have got a torque wrench that do 40 Newton meters on a 1/2 inch drive, unless you're into cars, etc., things like that, then you might have one, but not many people have. So that's one way of fitting it, obviously building it up in component bits. But then the other way, say if you've removed your cassette off of it like so, and you bought yourself a new cassette, and I'll show you with it, if you bought a brand new one you're fitting it, I'll show you how to do it if you bought a brand new cassette and you're just putting it on. Right, so if you've purchased a new cassette and you've removed it from the box, you've got something like that. Now you can see in the middle there's a white spacer in the middle, like so. Now to install it, all you've got to do is remove this white tag there. So you just pull that out like so, just put it to one side, keep hold of that. Then you're just looking on the back of here again, looking for the smallest notch on the top there. See this one? You're looking for that notch. So then you just line that up with the small one on your Freehub body. So if you get hold of it, you just put it over like so, line the 2 together so they're spot on in line under there. Once they're in line, you just let go of the cassette and it goes on like so. Just keep that lined up basically. Once it's lined up, then the whole lot falls on there, and then you're left with the small one. The only thing that's not on there is the small, because it's separate on the top there. The lock ring and the 11 sprocket is separate, so you can put that on. Once you've got that on, then you can take these off. You pull these off the white plastic. Right, so you have it, the cassette's on there. Now you can remove the tool, and you're left with those on there like so. The lock ring and the 11 last sprocket. So to get that off, it's literally, you can pull that out of there, and off pops that. Keep that to one side, don't throw that away. And then, like I said, you can just get this, flip it over, see where your smallest notch is on there, wherever that is, line it up with that. Put some grease around threads of there, and your lock ring tool, your lock ring, put that on. Start it by hand, make sure it's not cross threaded first, and then go ahead, get your lock ring tool like so, put that in, then make sure it isn't cross threaded, do it up as tight as you can by hand. Now next time, if you keep that tool, this, and you want to take your cassette back off to clean it or anything like that, it's dead easy because you've got this. This is a tool, so don't throw it away. Many people just throw this away, but it's useful to keep hold of. That's what you're supposed to do with it. It's there for a reason. So next time all you do is you undo your lock ring like so, take it off, put it to one side, take off your first cog, your 11, take that off, then get your tool, and it's got, you can see it there, a bit sticking out of it around the edge there, so that stays at the top. The bit with a couple of slots cut in it goes onto your Freehub body, and like I said earlier, corresponding notches lining up, the two smallest ones lining up. So once you've got it on like that, then all you got to do is make sure they stay lined up, and then when you lift, I'll try and do it one-handed, but you just lift the cassette up off of it like so. There you go, it's up, it's off, so there it is on there. And if you put it upside down like that, it can't fall apart. There you go. And then all you want to do is, if you want to make it secure so it doesn't fall over and it all falls to pieces, that's what the clip's for. Just get that clip. There's a big notch there, big gap. That lines up with that. So you just get that, just slot that back in, like so. And there it is. And then all you do is get your smallest sprocket again, put that back on the top, get your lock ring, push that in there, and there it is, fully installed. So you can keep your, say if you've got a couple of different cassettes you use, you can keep that one handy now, and then you could go and put another one on there if you want. Just swap them over. It's the same, those tools, there's one on there like so. Just keep them, you can swap them over, and now you won't lose any bits off it. And also you keep it on there when it's clean, you can put it on there, and it just keeps it all handy. Like so, that's what they're for. Many people just throw them away because they don't know what they're for. And like I say, all you got to do is you can take off those two again, like I said earlier. All you got to do is pop out the holder at the back, like so, and then go around and locate your marks, your smallest ones again, like so. Put that on there, and then literally drop it down on there like that, and there it is installed again. Right, so once you tighten that up as much as you can do by hand, then just get your ratchet again. Obviously clockwise is for tightening up. Put your socket over. Then you don't need your cassette tool, your chain whip, sorry, on there. You don't need that on there now because you're tightening it up. So literally you can stand the wheel up and tighten it like so. Now obviously it says 40 Newton meters, like I said earlier, unless you've got a big torque wrench you're not going to get that. So just literally hold on to the bar, you don't need to hold on to it right at the end, beast it up, because like I said, it's plastic and it's aluminium, so it'll ruin it, it'll destroy the threads. So you just literally nip it up. It's tight, but it's not mega tight. Nip it up like so, that's nipped up, it's not going to come undone. So there it is there. Now the other thing to check as well, if you say you were thinking of changing your cassette because you had, I don't know, your gears were skipping or something like that, presuming that everything else is perfect, all your gears are set up absolutely spot on, everything like that, it's always worth checking when you've got a cassette on there like so. You just grab hold of the largest sprocket and just wiggle it like that in and out, and make sure there's no excessive play in it. There'll always be, you can always feel a very small amount of play in it. but only a very small amount. If there's a lot in there, a lot of play, then obviously the cassette will be moving. When the chain's going round, the cassette's wobbling very slightly, so you can get some gears that are out of sync. That's what it could be. Not because your cassette's anywhere near worn out or anything like that. So it's worth checking that as a little pointer, just to make sure that the Freehub body isn't worn badly. Because many people change their sprocket, changing the cassettes to chains, but they're not actually doing anything with the Freehub body, so it's worth bearing that in mind. Obviously your chain and your cassette could be worn out and may need replacement, but sometimes worth just checking the Freehub, so bear that in mind as well. Right, so there's the cassette all installed. So if you found the video helpful in any way, remember to give it a thumbs up, remember to subscribe to the channel for more cycle relay content. Till next video, ride safe and I'll see you then.